Lots of questions, lots of topics to discuss. Even miracles can be discussed this morning. Yes, we're going to look obviously at the Scottish Cup draw. We're going to look at a little small reflection on the game from the weekend. We're also going to talk about a miracle that is occurring in Holland as we speak. Yes, Sam Lamas is starting to look like a footballer. Don't faint. Have a sit down. Get yourselves a drink. We will talk about that. You're going to need it. Please don't listen to this bit about Sam Lamas shortly standing up because you may pass out. We're also going to talk a little bit about Mohammed Diomande as well, about where can we get the best of him, why we need to put a little bit of a bit of a health warning, a bit of a caution over him initially and before drawing any judgments on him. And we're also going to ask a question at the end of the video, and I'd love your opinions on it. Is Connor Goldson undroppable? Is Connor untouchable? It certainly seems that way with certain fans in our fan base, but he does seem to divide fan opinion. We're going to talk a little bit about Connor Goldson as well, and hopefully we'll get some constructive comments in the comments about it. Now, guys, I don't mind you disagreeing with me. If you want to disagree, feel free. Just keep it constructive. That's all I mean. I had some comments yesterday. Oh, you don't like people disagreeing with me. No, that's not at all the case. What I always say is disagree, please, but be constructive. There are one or two commenters over the weekend that have made some pretty nasty remarks, particularly about Lorah, and that is out of order, guys. If you want to disagree, disagree, but don't be rude about it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Scottish Cup. Now, Rangers overcame Ayr United at the weekend, 2-0 victory in a performance that was kind of a second gear, job done up the road and get away with it kind of performance. It wasn't thrilling, it wasn't entertaining, it was a difficult watch at times, and Rangers got through. Oscar Cortez, I think, was the highlight amongst that. Very talented, looked brilliant, cutting in onto his right foot. Some great shots, unlucky not to score. Assists, did very well indeed. Now, yes, of course, we have to place this in the context that it was only Ayr United. It was not Barcelona. It was not Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool. It was not Borussia Dortmund or Bayern Munich or Bayer Leverkusen. It was only Ayr United. Yes, I understand. But you can only beat what's in front of you. You can only perform against what is in front of you, and you can show through what you can do, what skill you have, what talent you have. And it's quite clear this man has talent, has ability. Plus, also, how many times do you see top teams worth 500, 600, 700, 800 million down south come up against lower league opposition and fail to perform? So let's just get that into perspective before we start going, yes, it's only Ayr United, as some people have done over the weekend. It was a good performance by Cortez. There was some decent performances overall. Silva getting another goal, always positive. Fabio Silva, probably our only striking option who we can take seriously at this moment in time at the club, with obviously all the injuries we have. This is going to be a situation where Silva is going to have to really act and show that he is that £35 million player. Certainly, hopefully, will have a big role to play on Wednesday night when we face Ross County in the league, where a 3-0 victory can take us top of the league. Now, the draw was made yesterday, and this is the draw as it stands. This is it. Here we go. Lots of not surprises in this draw. So Greenock Morton at home to Hearts. As well as Greenock Morton have done to get to this stage of the Cup, you've got to say that you've got to fancy Hearts, who are in pretty decent form under Stephen the Rat Naismith at this moment in time. I think you probably see Hearts going through from that one. And then, yes, guess what? Surprise, surprise. Celtic get a home tie. Is anybody shocked? Is anybody surprised? Is anybody passing out in just sheer shock? I don't think so. So let's have a look at this. They play against the worst team in the SPFL, a team that doesn't seem to know how to play football, a team that when they go there, we know what they'll do: put 10 men behind the ball, play anti-football, and probably try and play for a draw. Initially, that's probably what they'll do. Yes, it's a cup tie. Yes, they should be just going for it because, let's face it, you only get one opportunity at this. But no, they won't. And we all know that what the result will be: about 2-0, 3-0 Celtic. They'll get through to the semi-finals. Well, like I said, no one's particularly surprised that they get Livingston and they get a bye. I suppose it could only be made easier if they've got Greenock Morton at home. The third tie, Aberdeen versus Kilmarnock, is probably the most interesting one of all. Aberdeen, who are trying to get back into form, trying to improve under Rangers fan Neil Warnock. Yes, that's right, Aberdeen fans. Your manager is a Rangers fan. Deal with it. Neil Warnock plays against Kilmarnock, a very good Kilmarnock team, a Kilmarnock team that Derek McInnes has got playing some good stuff this season. A Kilmarnock team that Derek McInnes has very well organised this season. Now, If that game had been at Rugby Park, maybe you could see Kilmarnock walking it. But I think it probably would be a very intensely fought game and a very difficult game to pick. If you asked me to pick it today for a betting slip, I would go with Aberdeen because it's at Pittodrie, because Neil Warnock's the manager, and because they've got Bojan Miovski. I think they probably will get their way through. So look, that's Hearts, Celtic and Aberdeen through. Then the last tie is our tie. Yes, we go away to Easter Road to take on Nick Montgomery's Hibernian. It's not the easiest of ties, but not the most difficult of ties. We have been to Easter Road already this season and won there. Hibs are not a great team, are they? Let's face it, they're not a good team this season. I mean, hopefully Nick Montgomery will still be the manager there, and they haven't got anybody. They won't have sacked him and got a new manager in, because that can make it a bit more difficult. But a game that we should be winning. You know, a game that I'm confident that we can win. Why? Because Philippe Clement takes every game seriously. Philippe Clement always names a strong team no matter what competition we are playing in. And if he picks a strong team, which I suspect he will, any of our teams that he picks will be strong enough to overcome any other team quite easily, I think, from the SPFL, in particularly Hibernian. So look, I'm predicting us to get through there easily in the end. I think in maybe a nice, comfortable 2-0 or 3-1 victory at Easter Road to take us through. Probably, like I said, the semi-finalists, you're probably looking at Hearts, Aberdeen, Celtic and Rangers. And no doubt it'll be an Old Firm semi to make sure that it's another team in the cup final, obviously, other than the Old Firm. Not that I'm saying the SFA do anything like script things or fix things. Not at all. Of course they don't. Anyway, let's talk about a miracle that is occurring in Holland. Yes, guess what? It's a rebirth. I'm not talking about a divine rebirth. I'm only talking about a rebirth of a player. Yes, this man here, when he was at Rangers, let's face it, he looked like a competition winner in a Rangers shirt. Okay, pre-season, he actually looked quite decent. I think lulled us all into a bit of a false sense of security. We all kind of, even some comparisons to Brian Laudrup. Not saying he was as good as Laudrup. People were saying fantastic. Could Lamas be the same? And certainly pre-season, there seemed to be elements of that from Sam Lamas. Then the regular season comes and he pretty much stinks the joint out. And lots of us were left sitting there going, what exactly is the point of Sam Lamas? What does Sam Lamas actually do? Where is his best position? Where does he actually play? I don't know. That was the honest answer, shall we say, by the Lamas. However, he's gone to Utrecht and he seemingly had a rebirth. He has done very well at Utrecht. He's played 5 matches for Utrecht, and in those 5 games, he's scored 1 goal and had 3 assists. Yes, that's right, guys. That's 4. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 goal contributions in 5 games. Wow. He got an assist against PSV Eindhoven, who currently sit 10 points clear at the top of the Eredivisie. They've only drawn 2 games. Out of their 21 games this season, they've won 19, drawn 2. Their first slip-up did come against Utrecht with that Sam Lammers-inspired 1-1 draw. And then at the weekend, playing as a 9. Should we have tried him as a 9? Is that his best position? Or is it just that in Holland, he's more at home? That in Holland, it's more his level. In Holland, he just feels more comfortable with the style of football. Could well be. He's playing as a 9. He scores against Fortuna Sittard in Utrecht's 4-0 victory over Sittard at the weekend. Got Utrecht fans actually raving about him, saying they want to sign him. Now, this is great news for Rangers, because let's face it, if we can get Sam Lammers playing some decent stuff at Utrecht, there is a good chance we can recoup some of, if not all of that money that we spent, which he spent, or we say wasted, on him in the summer. £3 million. Now, Transfer Market currently lists his value at around about £1.8 million. That's about €2 million, which obviously is way under what we paid for him. I think the situation is this: if you can get a couple of million for him, a couple of €1 million for him, look, anything I think is you're going to have to accept. I think we're going to take a loss on him unless he suddenly becomes, I don't know, the second coming of Marco van Basten crossed with Dennis Bergkamp in the second half of the season in Utrecht. But realistically, you know, at the end of the day, the better he plays, the better for us, because number one, it's going to raise his value, and number 2, it means we get back some of that money we wasted on him in the summer. So good news that this miracle is occurring in Utrecht. Okay, let's talk about someone we did bring in to kind of replace him in a way, which is Mohammed Diomande. Now, Mo Diomande is a player who comes in with a very, very good reputation, someone who comes in with exceptionally high expectations on him. a player who was described as one of the best talents to come out of Scandinavia. I know he's not Scandinavian, I know he's African, but he was playing in Scandinavia for Norgesland. He came through the academy in Ghana, the Dare to Dream Academy, and was one of the best players at that academy. And Norgesland obviously took him to Denmark, where he became one of the best players in the Danish Super League, even becoming vice-captain of Norgesland at a young age. He was someone who was identified by Niels Koppen and Philippe Clement as being the player we need, that midfielder who can go past people, who can pick a pass. And it seems well that since Mohammed Diomande has been signed, that there's a bit of a kick up the arse for Todd Cantwell, and suddenly Todd Cantwell has become the player he was last season. There seems to be a raise in his standards. Does he fear the presence of Mohammed Diomande? That is the question. Now, Philippe Clement, speaking on Saturday, said that Mo was asked to play a little bit higher than he's used to, which kind of tells me that maybe he's not a 10. That's not where Philippe Clement sees him, although he did use him in that 10 role on Saturday. You know, Diomande is certainly a very, very adaptable player. He's certainly one of those modern hybrid footballers who can play in a number of positions. He can play as a 10. He can play as an 8. He can play as a winger. He's even played left back at one point, apparently. Now, he's here with a loan with an obligation to buy. An obligation to buy basically means we are going to buy him. It just means that we will be able to stagger the payments, and it's not a big outlay all in one go to stay on the right side of FFP. That's what it actually means, guys. So even though we have paid an initial loan fee, that loan fee will be deducted from the overall transfer fee as we pay in installments for Mohammed Diomande, looking resplendent in 3 out of 4 of our kits there. Now, he insists that he is not going to buckle under that heavy price tag. Now, 4.5 million, I know those of you who live down south, if they were 4.5 million is not a lot of money. That's like a very, very average player in the Premier League. Okay, it is. But in Scotland, 4.5 million, as we know, is a substantial amount of cash for Rangers to invest. He made his full debut at the weekend in the game against Ayr United. But he insists that he's not going to buckle under the pressure. Now, a lot of players, when they come to Rangers, come with great promise, don't they, and great talent, and suddenly don't cope at Ibrox or don't cope in front of the 52,000 and really struggle to adapt to Scottish football and to playing for one of the biggest clubs in world football. Yes, that's right, one of the biggest clubs in world football. If you're watching this and you're not a Rangers fan and you say we play in a pub league, like I was told at the weekend by a Sunderland fan, which is a bit rich coming from a team that hasn't played in Europe since about 1974 and hasn't won anything since 1973 and was in one of the worst leagues in England and struggled to get out of it, it's a little bit rich on my thing. I think they need to shut the hell up. This is what Diomande had to say in his interview when asked about that pressure. I wouldn't say this is really a big pressure. Yeah, it's a big investment, but I will just look at how I can develop myself and how I can help the team achieve what they want to achieve here. The fans have been amazing. When I made my debut again on the weekend, they make me feel welcome. I hope I can give back to them. He played 60 minutes, obviously, in that game and nearly scored with an overhead kick. I mean, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous talent to do that. He said, it was tough. I haven't played a competitive football game since November, and I want to do everything I can do to contribute to this team. Now, I think that is the caveat. That is the kind of thing we need to consider when thinking about Mohammed Diomande and what he brings to Rangers. Guys, remember, he has not played competitive football in a run of games since November. His last competitive game was Norgesland's 6-1 victory over Fenerbahce in the Conference League. He hasn't played any run of games. They have been in their off season since November. So throughout the entire month of December, which is, as we know, Scottish football and English football and British football's busiest period, he has not played a single game. So it's going to take him time to get up to speed, isn't it? It's going to take him time to, be back to what he can be. Listening to a footballer talk on a radio program recently, he said that it takes you around about 4 to 6 weeks to get your match legs back and get your match sharpness back. So it's going to take Diomande time to get his match fitness back. So I don't think we can draw any real conclusions on him until that 6-week period is up. Now, I know a lot of games that have taken part in that 6-week period, and obviously how much time he gets will be carefully managed by Philippe Clement, as we saw at the weekend with that 60-minute run out for Diomande. So look, all of you, all the Rangers fans out there, look, this is what I'm going to say to you. And I know we are an impatient fan base, and I know at times we draw conclusions on players very quickly, but I think we need to give Diomande that time to bed in, to become the player that he is no doubt going to become. I've got the utmost confidence in Niels Koppen and in Philippe Clement that they have a player here. Now, one of the things that Philippe Clement will have to decide, and I trust the manager to do this, he is an outstanding manager, is where does he get the best from Mohammed Diomande? Philippe Clement, like I said at the weekend, did say that 10 was a little bit high for him. So could it be that he's more an 8? Could it be that he plays in that role alongside Lundstrom, or alongside Jack to get that bit more freedom to go forward? Is Diomande better in that role? Or are we going to see him sort of become more of a 10, put more pressure on Cantwell to play? How are we going to see him used? Philippe Clement has shown this season that at home he is more willing to play that more attacking-minded player alongside Lundstrom or alongside Jack or alongside the holding midfield player like Tom Lawrence has done. It could be that Diomande is the perfect player for that role. He's quick. He's not afraid of a tackle, which is always positive in that 8 position. He's got a good eye for a pass. He gets forward. He's got skill. He's got the ability to go past players. So it could be that using him in that 8 role, he could become that real box-to-box that we've been missing. And I do think that could be a good role for Mohammed Diomande. But like I said, whatever this man decides, wherever he decides to use him, I trust him. I trust him 100% because at the end of the day, everything this man has done so far at this club has been absolutely outstanding. So well done to Philippe Clement. Okay, before we finish, like I said, actually, one more thing. Let me know what you think. Where is Mohammed Diomande better played? Is it as an 8? Is it as a 10? Where should we be using him going forward? Let me know in the comments down below this video. Okay, let's talk a little bit of this man here. He divides fan opinion. And lots of you have been saying that I hate Connor Goldson. I don't hate Connor Goldson. I don't hate any Rangers player. I just want to see them perform. And when they don't perform, I'm critical of them. Why? Because I want the best for this club. Because I want our club to win. Because I want our club to get back to where it should be, which is at the top of the Scottish game. That's what I want. That's what we all want at the end of the day. Now, Connor Goldson this season for me has really flattered to deceive. I don't know what the saying is, but anyway, hasn't played well. 3 out of the last 4 games, he has been absolute, what's the word looking for? Absolute murder, I think is the word. He's been poor. His reading of the game has been poor. He's been slow. He's been caught out of position. He's missed tackles. He nearly could have got himself sent off against Ayr, but he didn't make contact, thank God, with that Ayr player, else he would have been sent off. Yes, he's a very good communicator. Yes, he's a very good organizer at the back, something that seems to keep him in the team. But why is it when you've got big Leon Balogun, who will be returning this week, as Philippe Clement said in his presser, who has been arguably the best defender at the club, and John Souttar, who really does seem to be that player that we thought he could be when he came to the club. His passing has certainly improved. His ability to break the lines and come out is what we've been missing from the centre-back position, and he certainly seems to be doing that. I mean, not only that, but he puts his body on the line. He doesn't seem to underjump things anymore. John Souttar has arguably been probably our best defender over the last 4 games. So, to drop Souttar when Balogun returns and play Goldson and Balogun, to me, would be very unfair on John Souttar. To drop Balogun and place Goldson and Souttar, to me, would seem very unfair. Yes, I know Leon's been injured, but once Big Leon is back, and if he plays, obviously, at the level he was playing previously, why is it so awful to suggest, which it seems to be to some Rangers fans, such a heresy to suggest that we play with Souttar and Balogun as our centre-half pairing? Connor Goldson's getting older. Connor Goldson is not the same player he was during 55 or even some extent last season. Players, as they get older, lose not only a bit of a step of pace, but kind of lose a skill, lose ability to read a game. They just slow down in everything they do. And it seems Connor has done that this year. Connor's been caught out for the same goal 3 times in big games this season. Celtic at home, Kyogo over the top, awful defensive header from him, sleeping, lets Kyogo run in behind him. Pitodri lets Miovski run off him and score. Ibrox lets Miovski run off him and score. So the same goal 3 times, twice to the same player, actually, which is not great. Connor Goldson is very good at organising, is very good at communicating. That is one thing he does cover well for Tav when Tav goes forward if Ryan Jack is not playing. But by the same token, he's missing tackles. He's missed timing tackles. He's not looking the same quality player he was 2 seasons ago or a season ago. And yes, to some fans, this is utter heresy to suggest it. I am going to get slaughtered for this. I know I am. I'm going to get some of you absolutely slagging me off for daring to suggest that the great Connor Goldson gets dropped and saying that he's our best defender. Well, I would argue with that. This season, he's not been our best defender. I would say that Connor Goldson this season, on the present form, is our 3rd best centre-back behind Suter and behind Balogun. Why is he so undroppable? Why is it so heretical to suggest that we drop Connor Goldson? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like I said, when we have played Suter and Balogun, they haven't let us down. Hibs away, they were outstanding at the back. They were brilliant at the back. They covered each other well. Both of them broke the lines well. Both of them brought the ball out well. Both of them put a bit more urgency. That's another thing. Goldson seems to slow the play down a lot this season as well, whereas Suter and Balogun don't seem to do that. There seems to be more of an urgency for them to bring the ball out, to bring it forward, to draw midfielders out, to try and create space for the attacking talent, something that Connor Goldson is not doing. So, look, I'm not saying Connor Goldson is finished. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. What I am saying is maybe he needs to boot up his backside to say, look, you're not playing well at the moment. You're on the bench. Until you pick up your form, you're not coming back. I don't care who you are or what you've done previously. Until you actually stand out and start batting back to what you used to be, you're not playing, mate. Sit down. And I think that's something we may need to do with Connor Goldson to give him that kick up the arse he needs, because at the moment, his performances are simply not good enough. Well, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm getting ready for the barrage of slaughtering that no doubt will come my way. Guys, remember tonight we have a podcast, 8:35. Myself, Lorah and Damien will be talking all things Rangers. Tuesday night also podcast, myself, Lorah and Andrew from the Inside Ibrox channel. And then Wednesday night we are streaming the Ross County game live. So loads coming up this week on the channel for you to look forward to. Please come and join us for all of those things. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, on the way out, two things I always ask of you. Number one is to smash the like, and number two is to remember always, we are the people.